Well, good morning, everyone. Gong Hee Fa Toi. Happy Lunar New Year to those of you who celebrate. Today, the Wong family is celebrating Chinese New Year's, and we are meeting this afternoon with a record crowd of 78 of us are meeting together. So, big celebration this afternoon. But in previous times, you know, Deborah reminded us of the important Buddhist holidays. And so today, our service, we're honoring Nirvana Day, or Nihan-e, commemorating the passing of Shakyamuni Buddha, the historic Buddha. Typically observed on the 15th day of the second month, so February 15th, this day is recognized by Buddhists all around the world as a time to reflect on the Buddha's teaching, who even in death taught us the important lessons of impermanence. At the age of 35, Shakyamuni Buddha meditated under the Bodhi tree, realizing enlightenment, awakening to true reality, the sensation of suffering, the blowing out the flames of greed, anger, and ignorance. And he spent the next 45 years sharing his wisdom until the age of 80. Shakyamuni Buddha was a compassionate teacher, and he tailored his teachings to meet the needs of each individual. This ability made every follower feel as though he spoke directly to them, much like a skilled doctor prescribing the right remedy for an ailment. And one of his most well-known and important teachings is the story of Kisa Gotami and the mustard seed, a powerful parable that teaches about impermanence of life and nature of suffering. And the story goes that Kisa Gotami, a young woman who lived in ancient India, had a young son who she loved dearly. Tragically, her son fell ill and died. Stricken with grief, Kisa was inconsolable and wandered the village, clutching her dead child, seeking a remedy. She approached the villagers, begging for anyone to bring her son back to life. Finally, a wise man advised her to seek the Buddha, who might help her. And so Kisa Gotami rushed to the Buddha and implored him to revive her child. The Buddha promised to give her medicine if she would go to the village and get a handful of mustard seeds and bring them back to him. But there was one condition. The mustard seeds must come from a household that had never known death. Kisa Gotami rushed off to beg for a handful of mustard seeds, and every household was willing to give her some. But no matter where she turned, every family had known death. The painful loss of a father, a sister, a son, an aunt, a mother, a brother, an uncle, and so on without end. And so realizing that death is a universal experience and that everyone suffers loss, she returned to the Buddha, understanding the truth of impermanence and the nature of suffering. And with this insight, Kisa Gotami found peace and was able to let go of her grief. And she became a devoted follower of the Buddha and ultimately attained enlightenment. So this story illustrates the lesson that suffering is part of life, and acceptance of impermanence is essential for overcoming grief and finding true peace. The Buddha shared many teachings like this as he traveled from place to place. He traveled with about 500 monks and nuns called bhikkhus, stopping at shelter along the way, accepting offerings of food from the villagers who welcomed him as an honored guest. However, he felt critically ill after consuming some tainted food. And that evening, he settled in a place called Kushinagara, a place near northern India. And realizing that the end was coming soon, he had his bedding spread between two sallow trees to provide shade and shelter. There he laid down with his head toward the north, his face to the west, and his right hand for a pillow. Many of his disciples, the king, his family, men, women of all ages, and even birds and animals, gathered, sighing with sadness. Ananda, his devoted disciple, felt lost at the thought of losing the Buddha and requested one final teaching. Shakyamuni Buddha reassured Ananda, saying, "I have shared everything with nothing hidden. All is right in front of you." Right here, right now, the teachings will endure the Dharma and the Sangha. There is no more to give but these last words. From this day on, rely on the Dharma, not on the people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on the wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those that do not. He who sees merely my body doesn't truly see me. He who understands and embraces my teachings, the Dharma, will truly see me. After my passing, the Dharma will be your teacher. See the teachings as a way to awakening. Be a light unto yourself. Be an island to yourself. Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Hold fast to the truth as a refuge. He told his followers to look inward, emphasizing truth and wisdom, that they were strengths that were already within us. Don't cling to the outside world to find meaning or direction. Instead, cultivate the wisdom within and rely on it. Do not follow others to just imitate or copy others. That is ignorance. We are all born with a light within us. And this was his last discourse, expounding the fundamental truth. Even though the physical body dies, the Dharma is eternal. At the age of 80, Shakyamuni passed from this world of suffering. He entered the state of final peace that is called parinirvana, the nirvana with no residue, where the extinction of all desire has been expired with no limitation, no residue. So I've reflected deeply about these words over the past 2 weeks. I admit I've been feeling a bit down. I turned everything off for a few days, TV, social media, newspapers, and radio. Although I did immerse myself in Korean dramas as an escape. We've had so much thrown at us, stuff coming from all directions, political divisiveness, social tensions, conflicting opinions, confusing messaging. It's been so hard to decipher what is the real truth. But gradually, I've been tuning back in, very selectively, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed or influenced by external voices. But as I've re-engaged with the world, I've reminded myself of the Buddha's encouragement to trust oneself and rely on our inner wisdom. We have the wisdom to discern what's right and wrong and to navigate through challenges. We should not follow blindly, but realize the light inside of ourselves. Being an island unto yourself doesn't mean isolating from others. Instead, it's about being grounded and secure in your values. Like an island that stands firm amid crashing waves, it's about finding stability within so that external turmoil doesn't sweep you away. We're accustomed to being told what to do, what to think, and what the right action is. We're so unaccustomed to discovering for ourselves the process of our own thinking. But we should trust our inner compass, for when we do, we can not only find peace within ourselves, but we can also become a beacon for others seeking a way through the darkness. Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Hold fast to the truth as a refuge. Take refuge in the light of the Dharma. The truth that the Buddha taught was one of his earliest teachings. The Four Noble Truths are common sense and practical, and we can prove through our experiences that this really is the truth. The first one, that life is a bumpy road. We all go through difficulties in life, birth, old age, sickness, death, and suffering because life doesn't go the way we want it to. The second one is there's a reason for all our angst and unhappiness, and it's due to our insatiable greed, anger, and ignorance, the three poisons. And three, by letting go of our attachments, we can awaken ourselves. And 4, the Buddha offered a path to follow, the Eightfold Noble Path, by having right views, thoughts, speech, effort, conduct, livelihood, mindfulness, and meditation. This is a path to true happiness and to living a life of joy. The light the Buddha talks about is wisdom. That's the light that leads us out of the darkness, and what unfolds from that is compassion. Shinran Shonin, our founder of our Shin Buddhist tradition, emphasizes that this dynamic, ultimate reality of the working of infinite wisdom and immeasurable compassion is so profound and vast beyond our comprehension. We call this ultimate reality Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha is a symbol of the realm of experience of enlightenment, the very enlightenment which Shakyamuni Buddha himself obtained. Amida Buddha enables us to know this ultimate reality of infinite wisdom and immeasurable compassion, which is formless, colorless, and transcends this world. Shinran expresses profound gratitude to this ceaseless working of boundless compassion. Although my eyes, blinded by passions, do not see the warm light that embraces me, great compassion never tires, constantly casting light upon. You could say that our practice as Shin Buddhists is the practice of compassion, to manifest compassion in every aspect of our lives, to our families, to our friends, our pets, and extending to all society. We are touched by this light of boundless compassion that is known as Amida Buddha. This light illuminates the darkness and transforms it. For us, Shin Buddhists, hearing the name Namo Amida Butsu is a way for us to encounter Amida Buddha. By saying Namo Amida Butsu, we are calling the name of the Buddha. We are gratefully acknowledging this deep wisdom that unfolds as compassion, encompassing our lives, transforming us to become true, real, and sincere human beings. This is the aspiration of Buddhism, to make us more human, to strive to become truly human in our everyday thought, speech, and action. It compels us to take personal responsibility while minimizing hypocrisy when dealing with difficult issues. Yet how many of us can truly act in accordance with our feelings and uphold our intentions consistently? It is vital for us to seek messages of the truth rather than getting swept away by hearsay, rumors, or gossip. It is vital for us to help all those weaker than ourselves, support all who are suffering loss, feeling vulnerable or afraid, who are being targeted, abused, or bullied. And while not all of us have a public platform, as did Reverend Marianne Buddy, the Episcopal minister who spoke out at the inauguration service at the National Cathedral, or Greta Thunberg, the Swedish environmental activist known for challenging world leaders to take action on climate change, or Malala, the Pakistani young woman and Nobel Prize winner who was shot by the Taliban for speaking out for education for girls. But each of us can contribute to the great gift of compassion in our own ways. Maybe it's gifts of money or material goods, but it could be gifts of kind eyes, kind words, a generous heart, kind hospitality, sharing of courage and true wisdom, or just sharing a smile and a listening ear. As we're navigating turbulent times marked by change and chaos, we are navigating turbulent times marked by change and chaos. However, on Sunday, January 19th, Cheryl, Deborah, and I participated in the World Religion Sunday. And this was the third year that TCBS participated. This year it was held at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Bloomington. And the theme this year was One Humanity, Many Paths to Harmony. Cheryl opened the service by ringing our conch shell bell, which resonated beautifully throughout the chapel. And many different faiths participated, including the Baha'i, the Muslims, Methodists, Hare Krishnas, Catholics, Quakers, Jewish, Episcopals, and Hindus, each offering prayers of peace and hope and beautiful music. The evening finished with all faiths joining together in song. It was so wonderful to be together as one humanity, all there to spread love and peace. And that gives me hope that there are many good and kind and caring people in this world. And so as we work through all the uncertainty of life in these coming days, let us remember the words of the Buddha. From this day on, rely on the Dharma, not on the people who teach it. Rely on the meaning, not on the words. Rely on the wisdom, not on the working of the mind. Rely on the sutras that fully express the meaning, not on those who do not. Be a light unto yourself. Be an island unto yourself. Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Hold fast to the truth as a refuge. And so one last thing, there is one piece of good news coming out of Washington these days. The giant panda cam is back. The panda bears are back and they've returned to the National Zoo. So when you get really down, if you need some joy, tune in to the giant panda cam and see some joy and happiness. So, namaste. Namaste. Namaste.